Alright, we are back for the next episode of painting the Horus Heresy Legions without an airbrush. After a couple days of not putting out a video, I figured it was time to get back to them. So, we're painting a World Eater today. I've primed him with Gray Seer Primer from Games Workshop. And we're going to start with Apothecary White. Top tip for Apothecary White, I've already been shaking it quite a bit off camera so you can't really see it. But here on this is the next color I'm going to use. You can see how it's sort of discolored down here. This is the sediment settling to the bottom. Apothecary White does that in some of the worst, probably the worst paint that does this. So you have to shake it for quite a while to get it to spread back out, or mix the sediment back in. So just keep that in mind if you are using this paint. And I'm just going to put this, just like the white scar, I'm just going to put this all over this guy here. If it gets on the bolter or the shoulder pads, that's fine. It's not a big deal, but I'm not purposely going to be covering the shoulder pads or the bolter, since they will be a different color. And probably for thematic reasons, this guy should have a chain bayonet, not a straight bayonet, because it just feels like the World Eater way to have a chain weapon. But I just built all the Marines that I'm using for these videos the same way, so you'll have to forgive me. You can just imagine a chain bayonet on him, and of course when I get to painting the bayonet I will explain how I would have painted the chain bayonet if he had one. So this can be kind of tricky to know when you've gotten it everywhere, because it's, you're painting gray on gray or white on white effectively, but I think I've got it. So I'll let that dry. We really don't need to let it dry completely to go on to the next step, but I'm gonna let it dry just to make sure it's all settling nicely. Then I'll come back and we'll do the next color. Alright, we're back and our white is mostly dry. We're gonna move on to Ultramarines Blue now. This is going to be for both shoulder pads. We're obviously doing the Heresy era paint scheme for the World Eaters. They're red in the more recent 40k, but back in the day they were this white and blue scheme. I think the Heresy era scheme is pretty cool, personally. It's different. I'm gonna say something, and I think I'm correct in this, but I'm probably just not thinking it all the way through, and everyone's gonna be like, wow, this guy's dumb. I think they're one of the few legions that have a true two-color scheme. So, like, obviously every legion has like an accent color. Like, the Dark Angels are black, and they have red as an accent color, but they're not. You wouldn't describe the Dark Angels as red and black. The Imperial Fists are yellow and they have black highlights, but you wouldn't really say black and yellow for the Imperial Fists. It's Blood Angels, they're red. They have some black, but they're not black and red, they're red. A lot of the legions are just a color. These guys, you could describe the World Eaters as as white, but I think you'd really describe them as white and blue. So I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to let that blue dry. I'm going to pay attention closely to this shoulder pad, make sure it doesn't pool anywhere weird, or, as much as I can prevent it. I will. And then once that's dry, we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, we are back, and our blue is all nice and dry. We're going to go on to the Black Templar now. This is going to be for the bolter, as well as a couple other details on him. Let's start with the bolter here. I'm going to black out the entire thing, and then we'll come back with silver and put in some details. I'm also, I think I'm gonna do the joints of the armor with Black Templar, but no, actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm gonna do them with just Nuln Oil. So yeah, there might not be a ton of black on this guy. I'll put it on the bolter, and then I'll put it on the sort of bandolier straps or whatever they are on his chest. And that might be about it, to be honest. Just make sure we got it on the back of that and the bottom. Good. So then we will put it on this thing also, being very careful around the white armor here. In fact, I might actually switch brushes, just so I can be extra careful. Got a little mistake there. I'll cover that up with some white scar, possibly. I might just leave it, to be honest. When you're trying to paint an army, tiny little mistakes like that, in my opinion, aren't even worth fixing. From several feet away, you won't even notice them. And I think I will paint in here with black, so that when we paint these parts in silver, we don't have any of that light gray primer showing in between the silver bits. Even though we'll put Nuln Oil on it later, Nuln Oil sometimes won't cover the bright gray primer completely, so we'll do that. But that'll be it for the black, so I will let this dry, and we will come back and do our metallics. Alrighty, we are back, and our black is mostly dry. We're going to move on to our silver now. I'm going to use Iron Hand Steel for this. And we're going to start by painting the bayonet, and as I said earlier, I would explain how I would paint the chain bayonet if I had chosen that. And it's super simple. I would just paint the teeth in the silver, then leave the body of the bayonet the same color as the bolter, in this case black, and then paint the part of the bayonet that connects it to the bolter, so this area right here, I would paint that in silver as well. But for us, it's easy. We're just going to paint the blade of the bayonet silver and go from there. I'm also going to get the barrel here. And then I'm just going to get the raised parts of the bolter here. It's kind of up to you. When you detail a bolter, just kind of pick some spots out and go for it. Then I'm going to paint the bottom of the bolter, or the bottom of the magazine here, in silver. There we go. Then I'm going to get this middle section here, and then each one of these little spots, leaving the black in between them. Not being super careful, just getting it on there. And then the sides of the helmet here. And the little camera array, or whatever it is, up here. And then these conduits, I have been painting them silver on other Marines, but I'm going to leave them just white, and I'm going to put Nuln Oil on them like I will for the things there, the joints. Then I'm just going to paint these main 6 rivets, as I've talked about in I think every one of the videos so far. These backpacks have a bunch of rivets on them, but they're so tiny, from a couple feet away you'll never notice them. So I'm not bothering to paint them. If I was painting an army, obviously for this series I'm just painting one Marine, but I'm painting them as if I were painting an army, just to show you guys a quick and easy way to do it. And so if I was painting an army, I wouldn't bother with all those tiny rivets on every dude. It's always something you could go back and do. Like, once you get your army quote-unquote fully painted, you could go back and, like, you know, spend a Saturday morning painting rivets if you really wanted to. Just get the rest of that. There we go. Alrighty, and I think that's all. Oh, let me get the front of the silver here. There we go. And I think that's going to do it. I was earlier going to paint these things silver, but I think I actually like them staying black, so I'm going to leave them black. So I will put a cut in here, just because I like dealing with smaller video files, but in just a moment we will come back and do the gold. Alright, we are back. And we're going to start the gold, and we're going to use Necro Gold for this from skill 75. Just squeeze a little bit of this out. And we're just going to paint the little symbol he has here hanging from his bolter, as well as the bumps on his shoulder pad in this color. This is kind of a dull sort of gold, and I like it for the World Eaters. I think it looks good with their other colors. So that's why I chose it. It's also, to be honest, one of my favorite golds just in general. So any excuse to use it, whether it looks good with the other colors or not, to be honest. But in this case, I really do think it looks good with the other colors. So, 2 reasons to use it. And then as soon as we do this, we really only have a couple more things to do. So we don't really need to let that dry, but I don't have the paint I need at my desk here, so I'm going to have to go get it. But we're going to come back and do the eyes, and then add some Null Oil, and I think we'll call it a day. Alright, we are back, and we're going to do the red real quick, and we're going to use Blood Angels Red for this. And this is just going to be for the eyes and the lens. And using red like this over white always scares me a little bit, because one little mess up and you got red everywhere. Just gonna go slow. That'll work. And then the other eye. There we go. Good enough. And then on the lens right here, tiny drop, that'll do. Alright, so then we're going to get our Null Oil here. And we're going to do 2 things with this. One, we're going to color in our joints, as well as the conduits on his backpack. So I'll start here. Just going to do this. And then up here, just trying to avoid the armor, if at all possible. Just want it on the joints. Conduits, like I said. And then he's got a joint here. And then a tiny one here. And then I'm just going to go in and in the little indents in a couple places, put some of this in, wipe it off if I get excess. Maybe on the feet down here. And he's got a lot more indents. You could spend time putting it in there, and I might put some in here. Could put it in a lot of places, but I'm not going to worry about getting it everywhere. I just want it in a couple spots to make him pop a little bit. And then I'm going to put it on the silver and the black on the bolter here. I'm going to put it on the gold hanging off the bolter also, but I want to give that as much time to dry as I can, so I'm going to put it everywhere else first. There. Put some here just to even out the finish. And then on the side of the helmet here, the camera up here, side of the helmet there, and then hopefully it's dry. It is. Get it there. And I think, after I fill that in, oh, I didn't even paint that silver. That's okay. Our Null Oil will take care of that. But then I think we will call him done. So right about now, you should be seeing him on a base, ready to go. The only other thing I might do if I were painting an army is put some like blood flecks on him. I feel like you always see World Eaters with blood flecks on them. I'm not gonna for this one though. I'm just gonna leave him as he is. But as you see, he's on his super simple base scheme that they're all on, and just to keep them all consistent, but also have them on some sort of base. I'll be back in the next one for the Ultramarines. I believe they're 13, 99% sure. And thank you everybody for watching. If you liked the video, please feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and I will see you on the next one.